I ran into some health scare, which it was sort of a paralytic attack. I had no cognitive functions at that time. And I could not speak properly. I could not think. I could not memorize anything that happened 5 minutes back. Everything came to a standstill. When I was in Infosys, there was a time where I was trying to understand what my next career move should be. That was one of the pivot points where I understood that, okay, now this is the right time for me to start considering MBA as an option. I got 635. I had already worked with MCB 4 5 years ago for career map service. I did not even look at other consultants. Right. Got selected in ISB, got selected in Tepper with 50% scholarship. I got $80,000 as the scholarship. Even if you're facing difficulties or challenges, just always remember that whatever is happening, it will end soon, and then the next thing will be better.
What does it take to get into an elite business school? MBA Crystal Ball is a boutique admissions consulting firm. Each year, we help a select few applicants get into the world's best business schools. Here's one of our success stories to inspire and educate.
Hello and welcome to MBA Crystal Ball's YouTube channel. Today we are speaking with Udisha Pandey, who has gotten into her dream school despite several challenges. Let's find out how she did it. Welcome, Udisha.
Thanks, Paresh. Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. So to begin with, can you share a little about your life before and during college as well?
Yeah. So my life has been the typical academic kind. Like my father has been always focused on education. So I learned a lot about my personality in those 12 years of schooling. But during 12th class, during my boards exam, I ran into some health scare, which it was sort of a paralytic attack, which kind of made me, I had no cognitive functions at that time. And I could not speak properly. I could not think. My memory, I could not memorize anything that happened 5 minutes back. So it was kind of a moment where everything came to a standstill. And then I realized that, okay, I'm no longer the typical topper or that
Right.
kind. People were moving forward in their life, getting into colleges, and I had to take a drop. So I took 2 years of medical gap at that point of time, because that is what I felt that I needed, because I could not pursue studies anyhow if I wanted to.
Sure.
After 2 years, I gained I worked on myself, I worked on my memory, I tried to study as much as I could, and then I went into a nice enough private college.
Sure.
So then I graduated as a gold medalist from my college. So that was something that gave me the confidence that I think I'm back now. So yeah, that's been primarily my journey throughout my schooling life and college life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really inspirational. When I first heard about it, I think you've kind of really come back from the difficult stages.
Right.
So now tell us about how your career journey kind of evolved.
Then I thought, okay, I did sit for placements in college for Infosys, Wipro, and Cognizant, all the consultancies. So I got offer from all three of them. So I took Infosys as the option. I did 2 years there in Infosys, in which I got promotion as well. But then I wanted to challenge myself after a certain point. So I heavily networked. So I think that was the first time I started networking on LinkedIn. I understood the concept of what networking is. I connected with people all around who were in the same technology, which is API integration for me. And from there, suddenly I got an opportunity for Salesforce, which was, I talked to the HR and I understood what the job role requirement is. I connected with many other people who were in the same job function or did it for some period of time. And I prepared accordingly. And I also cracked the interview and I got into Salesforce. And the bigger part was that the technology that I was working in was bought by Salesforce, was acquired by Salesforce long time ago. So I was primarily working at the heart of the product. So I think that was one of the opportunity that really changed the direction of my career. And it's been 3 years now in Salesforce.
Yeah, so that's a big move, because many people struggle with that. Now, having made that move, working in a product setting, what kind of prompted you to revisit the MBA questioning?
Yeah. So I think when I was in Infosys, there was a time where I was trying to understand what my next career move should be. I was very much confused because I took the core tech space. COVID had a lot of, COVID was one of the reasons of going there because, as I said, I was never a core tech person.
Yeah.
So I found the MBA career map service that is available. I took your service. Maybe like I'll not go deep into that right now, but I'm just saying that that was one of the pivot points where I understood that, okay, now this is the right time for me to start considering MBA as an option because my aptitude, my personality much more matches to being in a management space rather than a core tech space.
Right.
So that is when I decided that now I have to make certain decisions that enhances my profile to get an MBA. So that's why all these moves were like kind of happened very gradually, but they were kind of intentional. That now I want to move from Infosys to a product atmosphere, an atmosphere where I'll get to work with a lot of people who are in the management space as well. And that's what I did. Being in Salesforce, I took my time. I waited for a promotion. I wanted to see growth, and I wanted to show that growth in my profile that I am in a space where I'm growing and I have I have that talent to be in a management space. So I think it was much more intentional and done gradually. It took some time, but yeah, that is when I finally decided, like last year, that this is the right time for me to get an MBA.
Right. Yeah. I think you kind of fantastically brought our career map discussion to life by making that move, and kind of building that career. So decided for MBA.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your GMAT journey. How did that go?
Yeah, so GMAT journey was a bit, I think, not much carefully managed by me. Anyways, I had booked my exam. So since I had booked, I just gave the exam and I scored, I think, 495, focus edition. And I was like, okay, fine, this is done. But then I had given myself the timeline that next year is the year that you will finally do it without any excuses whatsoever. In between that, I got promoted. So that was done. That was something that I really wanted. Then into 2020, sorry, this was in 2024. In 2025, around I started in April. Yeah. So April is when I started preparing properly for GMAT. And this time I wanted to do self-study. I did not want to join any institution. So I just I enrolled in the self-study course of TTP, Target Test Prep.
Yeah.
Through that, I prepared for my theory part. And for the practical, I did the quizzes on GMAT Club. And I had some PDFs of questions available from my previous institution where I had joined. So I just resolved them. And I used to work on my mistakes. But I do think that my GMAT prep was a bit unorganized. Had I planned it properly, because by the time I was able to get my GMAT done, I was also working on the essays and I also had my job with me. I think I completely neglected my health. I got so many health issues within that time, 1.5, 2 months. So I think my score is kind of average because of all these elements. Had I structured it properly, maybe I could have gotten a better score. But I think my profile helped there to get me to ISB. So yeah, I think.
So what was your score?
What's done
What
is
did you
done.
score? Finally.
Yeah, so I got 635 for this attempt in 2025, which I gave, I think, in November.
Right.
And then I was already too much busy with the essay applications, but then I thought I'll give a reattempt just to try to improve my score. If I don't get any admission this year, maybe it will help me for next year. But I could not improve my score. So I was like, okay, let's be done with it. Let's work on my essays and everything else. I can't be on two boats. I'll ruin everything. So I got in with the mindset that this is the score I have. Let's just improve what I can now. So yeah.
And so, so going into the process, what were your top concerns and, where did MCB come in, in your plan?
Yeah. So as I said, I had already worked with MCB long before, like 4 or 5 years ago for career map service. So like, I don't know, randomly MCB had popped up when I was searching about MBA and mbacrystalball.com, and I went through the website and I have never seen any description like that. Like, it's really genuine. You understand, like, nobody is trying to sell you anything. They're just trying to help you if you want that guidance. And that too is also done selectively. It's not like, if you can't help us, you'll just say that this is something that we cannot support. So that really stood out to me. And with the career map service, I was already very much like, I had trust in you. Like, you were there to support me at that time. You gave gave me all the advice. Because of you, I could understand the trajectory that I needed to pick, and that is why when I decided MBA, like it's not just superficial or overview. You go into the depth of what the person is, what my potential is, and everything.
Sure.
So when I finally decided in 2024 that I have to go for the MBA, there was no doubt in my mind. I did not even look at other consultants, or I did not want to go with any option or confuse myself when I
Sure.
knew that I already had an experience with you. One thing that has stood out to me was that I randomly pinged Samir on LinkedIn that I am finally now in 2024 deciding to go with it. He just randomly pinged me back, let's connect on GMAT. And that stood out to me because nobody does that. Like, you don't have the time, don't have the energy. And he just randomly pinged me. And that discussion was all about my career journey and everything. He was not trying to, give me a pitch about MCV or anything like that. It was just to know me. And then he just told me that, do let me know what you decide future in your career. And it just gave me normal advice. And after that, I reached out to you and we started the process. So I think it was just about that organic connection that you have when you know that the other person is understanding your career journey. So I had faith in MCV from the start because of the experiences I had. So there was no doubt in my mind to go to some other service or check it out. Also, this year, like 2025 was the make it or break it. I had put it on myself that this is the year I have to do it because now I am on the verge where I have 5 years of experience.
Right.
So I did not want to leave it to chance or regret later that had I taken the service, I would have done better. I just wanted to give it my all, that this is what I want. I'll work for it. I'll pay for the service and I will get the most out of it as I can. So yeah, MCV was there was no doubt regarding choosing any other service for me because I had always had a very organic experience and very honest experience, whether it be career map or this essay service or interview service for that matter.
Sure. And what all schools did you apply? Any interview experiences that stood out that you'd like to share?
I applied to IIM Ahmedabad, PGPX, ISB. So I was primarily applying to only schools which are very much tech focused. I did not want to gamble with the consulting heavy schools because already the situation is not very favorable. In that, if I go to a consulting school and I'm just fighting for those places for tech placements and everything. So I just targeted IIM PGPX, Ahmedabad PGPX, then ISB, then Tepper, Michigan Ross, and Foster, which is in Seattle. It has a great pipeline for tech placements there in Seattle, Northwest Pacific region. So IIM Ahmedabad experience stood out for me, interview experience stood out for me because as we know that IIM Ahmedabad drills you a lot and it tries to check your personality and aptitude. I think it went well, but then I have been placed in the wait list. So in that I'm waitlisted. So ISB interview experience was something different because as soon as I entered, the interviewers were trying to calm me down and be patient, like saying that we are not going to grill you, we are just going to know you. So what everyone says about the ISB interview, it's true that the alumni, they're just trying to understand your journey. They want to take you. They're not in the hurry to reject you. So whatever interaction I had, it was very patient. It was very humbling and they also ask certain things about product management just to check whether I really am interested in that space. So they just try to check how genuine your story is, how genuinely you have put your efforts into the essay. So, and it was quite humbling to go to that campus. So I live nearby, and this is the first time I got to visit the campus. So that was a great experience for me. And the US interviews were pretty much the same. Like they just try to understand your journey and how honest you have been in your essays. But yeah, ISB interview was something different. The alumni, it was a very special interaction I had with them.
Awesome. So now with the drum roll, where all did you get in and where are you headed?
Yeah, so waitlisted in IIM Ahmedabad, got selected in ISB, got selected in Tepper with 50% scholarship. And Foster results are still pending, so I'm hoping I'll hear soon. Michigan Ross, I did not hear anything, which I'm primarily attributing to my low GMAT score because after getting so many interview calls with all the colleges that you apply, you get to understand where my weak area might have been. So I think my profile would not be that much be the reason, but yeah, GMAT score would be there. But yeah, I got into ISB, which was my first preference in India. or my first preference overall. Somewhere in my heart, I knew that I want to go to ISB, but then since you apply, you want to apply to as many options you have. But yeah, the first choice would have been ISB. So I'm glad that I got that.
Right. And you said the Tepper scholarship comes to how much? The 50% that you mentioned?
Yeah, so the tuition fees is $160,000, and I got $80,000 as
Oh.
the scholarship.
And okay, great.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean, as a kind of closing sort of this thing, I mean, any top tips or suggestions you have to people, with similar profile, or kind of challenges in life, that they should kind of keep in mind?
Sure. For tech people, I would say that first of all, we have to be very much, we have to cover every aspect of a profile from an MBA perspective. Don't just obsess over GMAT score. Like, I think I'm the example of someone who has an average GMAT score but still got into the colleges. So I think if you're intentional about getting an MBA, start very early. Start making decisions which are intentional. Be very conscious of how it's going to help in your profile. Many people have the doubt that I am in an individual contributor role. I don't have leadership role. I'm not in a leadership role, but I don't think that matters. Every role requires some kind of leadership capabilities. As much as you can handle it, you can show it in your profile as well. I'm an individual contributor as well, but there are so many activities I have picked in office which shows leadership capabilities, and I have reflected that in my essay as well. So first of all, start for GMAT very early. Get it done as soon as possible so that it doesn't hamper your essay work and your normal job work if you are employed right now. And be very intentional of every step you are taking. I did that. Like, after my college, all my decisions were in a way that they should help me get an MBA, even though it took 5 years of time, but still I did it. So it's not too late for anyone. Like, start early, make those kind of decisions. And just in general in life, I would say there will be times when you think that you're not being up to the potential, or you're not getting validated by things that you are achieving in life. But I think you just have to be patient. For me, it was very important. I had been waiting for a very long time to validate to myself that the decisions that I'm making are making me go somewhere nice. It I would not say that ISB is or MBA is the only is the only thing that can validate you. But yeah, this is something that worked for me. This is something that boosted my confidence. So I guess even if you're facing difficulties or challenges, just always remember that whatever is happening, it will end soon, and then the next thing will be better. That is what worked for me. So yeah, that is the only advice I would give. And for tech space people, I would really say that there's a whole lot of pool, even like male candidates, female candidates, it doesn't matter. There are so many people. So try to differentiate yourself as much as possible. Do not underestimate the work you are doing, even if you are in a not a well-known company or well-known company. It's the work that you are doing will matter. It doesn't matter the brand or the name of the company that you're working in. As long as what you're doing actually justifies why you want to do an MBA, it should work. Your justification should be very strong as to why you want an MBA. So I think that would work for the tech people.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Udisha. All the best. We'll be closely watching your career progression here onwards.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Manish. I would also like to, because this is the moment I'll get to thank Avinash publicly. He was the first person I messaged to once I got into ISB, because he has been immensely helpful there, with essay, with interview, everywhere. So I would like to thank him for helping me and supporting me my journey, and then to you and Sameer for always being there, always replying to my emails as promptly as you can. I know how busy you guys are. So yeah, thank you for being through this journey with me for last 5 years. It's been really helpful and amazing.
Yeah, we are equally happy, to be part of it. Thanks so much. All the best.
Yeah, thank you, Manish.
We hope you found this interview helpful. At MBA Crystal Ball, we've helped many applicants get into the elite business schools, often with scholarships. Reach out if you're looking for professional help with your applications. Good luck.